Harem anime protagonists always get a lot of heat for being too dumb, simple, or nice. But Yuuji Kazumi from the Fruit of Grisaia series is none of those. He is mysterious, sharp, strong, and above all, this man is ruthlessly cold. But he wasn't always like that. No, he was shaped by his past. What changed him was the world. This is a short yet deep recap of the Labyrinth of Grisaia episode where Yuuji shares the story of his early days. In a way, it's horribly sad, laughable, and ridiculous story. 2 years before the current state of the story, a plane was hijacked and a Japanese national was taken hostage. Yuuji was asked to shoot the offender even though he was around 2,000 meters away from him. It simply wasn't possible, but he does it anyway. He shoots the terrorist's hand and frees the hostage. She is soaked in blood and is visibly upset. Yuuji and his buddy don't really take her seriously because she looks like she is in elementary school, but as it turns out, not only is this girl older than both of them, she is also a principal of an education facility. As a token of gratitude for saving her life, she asks Yuuji if he wants anything, and that's where Yuuji decides that it's about time for him to finally live the life of a normal student. The story then brings us to the present day, where his guardian, Yuria Harudera, invites him to her office to discuss a little bit about his past. Turns out Yuuji also once had a family like everyone else. He had a father, a mother, and even an older sister, but his relationship with all three of them was, let's just say it was rather complicated. His father was a scumbag, his mother was a pushover, and his older sister had a weird obsession with him. When his sister was 10 years old, she had already amassed her family a fortune thanks to her extraordinary talent for painting. However, while his sister was praised by his parents, his own existence felt unnecessary, almost as if he was offending his parents just by being there. He was abused and neglected. The only one who actually gave a damn about him was his sister. She enjoyed spending time with him. And one instance, when they are both on their way home after playing catch, she told him to never give up, even if his situation was much worse. She said that not being able to give up will be his greatest weapon someday. Sure enough, Yuuji starts feeling a little better and also tries his hand at drawing. It looks a little goofy, but his sister likes it enough to put it next to her own painting. This ultimately pisses off their father, and so Yuuji just rips his own drawing by himself. The next day when Yuuji returned home, he came across a somewhat interesting individual. At that time, he had no idea just how much of an influence this man was going to have on his life. He gives Yuuji a chocolate. Yuuji bows, excuses himself, and runs up to his room. His sister, on the other hand, gradually became less and less interested in painting. This begins to anger their father even more. But she is still nice to Yuuji, shows him a manga series she got from her friend, and asks him to make friends as well. His sister was supposed to go to Paris after graduation, but she cancels those plans in favor of a quieter lifestyle, but this never stops people from appreciating her paintings. She goes out to eat at fancy restaurants with her parents all the time because of her art, but when she notices Yuuji eating an old slice of bread, she loses it. So she then gives their parents a piece of her, but this doesn't change Yuuji's situation at all. All he gets is more demonic stares, but at least he doesn't have to eat old bread anymore. One day, he energetically tells his sister how he made a friend, but she doesn't like it when he mentions that a friend is a girl. In fact, she downright prohibits him from making any female friends unless she has approved of them all first. This gets weirder when she quite literally makes him take a bath with her and does things which the YouTube lords might find a little unreasonable, but let's just say it was a little more than a bath. Eventually, the first day arrives when his sister enrolls in an academy. She makes sure to disappoint their parents by not joining a fine arts club, but unfortunately during a field trip, almost all of her class dies because of an incident. There's only one survivor, and it isn't Yuuji's sister. It's another girl named Amane Suo. But of course, Yuuji had no idea who she is at the point in his life. His sister's death destroyed his parents, his father resorted to alcohol and abused his mother all the time until finally they run away. They live alone yet peacefully for a year in a shabby house. Things are nice, but then one day his father appears out of nowhere. And believe it or not, he just forces himself onto Yuuji's mother and quite literally starts making out right then and there. Why, you may wonder? Because he wants to create another talented kid like Yuuji's older sister. That's how insane Yuuji's family situation was. But at this point, he's had enough of it. He uses the glass bottle and kills his father, all for the sake of protecting his mother. Sadly, his mother was too traumatized. She was beyond saving. She asks her son to run to the station, but when he later returns home, he finds a big scene outside his house. They're taking his father's corpse away, but something else feels wrong as well. He runs inside only to find another corpse. This one was hanging from the ceiling. This was too traumatized. It scared the living life out of Yuuji, and his body just passed out. Later, when he wakes up in the hospital, he's given a note covered in blood. It's his mother's final words, an apology letter. Yuuji is soon released from the hospital because of a certain man. Ah yes, the same one who gave him a chocolate a few years ago. This man is Rei Kirihara, aka Heath Oslo, and if you thought this is the point where things get better for Yuuji, you are dead wrong. This man takes him to his mansion and dresses him like a girl, and then he touches him inappropriately. At another instance, there is a guy who also tries to do inappropriate things to Yuuji on a stormy night, but Yuuji kills him with a blank stare on his face. This impresses Rei Kirihara, so much so that he ended up enrolling Yuuji in an actual terrorist training camp. He gets bullied and beaten here as well, and when a sweet girl named Marlin treats his wounds and shares food, he finally thinks for a moment that maybe this world isn't such a bad place after all. On the day of the graduation exam, two students are supposed to fight each other in a deathmatch, and of course, Yuuji's opponent is Marlin. He's ruthless and cold in the beginning, but when the girl's scream reminds him of his mother's scream, he gets overtaken by his trauma and becomes incapable to continue fighting. He failed the exam but lived to see another day. Marlin graduated despite her terrible skills, so Yuuji hoped that he might see her one day. But a nurse tells him that she has already gotten herself killed. And so, once again, Yuuji lost someone who was close to him. 2 months later, he's given a task to assassinate a certain important individual as the requirement for graduation. He carries it out rather efficiently, but doesn't stop there. He's then asked to carry out more assassinations, such as the CEO of America Bank, a major judge, a French left-wing radical, a freelance journalist, a member of the National Assembly, and many more. All you need to do is give him the name and he'll get that person. These assassinations continued on for a year. Yuuji's very existence caused a lot of uproar because of these assassinations, but the American intelligence agency just couldn't identify him. Although one night when Rei's residence is infiltrated by army personnel, as well as a woman named Asako, Yuuji is discovered in a basement. He is dressed as a girl, but Asako quickly notices that he is actually a boy. This is where Yuuji met Asako, and for the most part, that's also where his tragic past ended. Yuuji pauses the story and tells Yuria that they should take a breather before it continues. Subsequently, the girls have also discovered documents regarding Yuuji's past, but before they can look into them, this special episode ends. So if you haven't already checked out the prequel or the sequel to this episode, you should definitely check it out. The story is a lot more sinister and compelling than it seems on the surface. Though, as for this episode, what do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below, and feel free to also drop any other anime that you want me to cover. I'll go through your suggestions and even tag you when I get to the anime you suggested. A sincere like and subscribe can go a long way for your karma, just saying. Very well then, with that said, I'll see you guys on one of my other videos.